The Deegan by KC 20-inch LED light bar will be a great choice for the 97 and newer truck owners looking to add a bunch of lighting, but in a relatively small package. Now, the collaboration between Deegan and trusted lighting company KC Highlights will deliver a blistering 10,800 lumens thanks to the combination of flood and spotlights, all for the high $200 price point. Now, install will depend on a few factors here, including on where you plan on mounting the bar, so let's just call it 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter here in about an hour or so from start to finish, and we'll show you a way to mount it later in the video. So again, guys, what you're looking at here is a collaboration between Brian Deegan, X Games champ and off-road racer, along with one of the most trusted names in aftermarket auxiliary lighting, and that, of course, is KC Highlights. Now, basically, this bar is going to be essentially a C-Series bar from KC Highlights with a logo thrown in for good measure and some small tweaks. But what do you say we get into some of the finer details here with this particular bar? Now, the 20-inch KC here will pack a total of 40 individual Cree LEDs, and of those 40, you are getting a mix of 8-degree spot and 90-degree spread beam patterns, which pump out a very impressive 10,800 lumens at a 6,000 K color temperature. Now, those LEDs will also combine for a total light throw of 837 meters, essentially half a mile overall. So perfect for lighting up those dark back roads or trails, or even random uses such as camping or on the work site. Now, those Cree LEDs are given a lifespan of over 30,000 hours of operation, which does help KC comfortably back this light bar with their limited 23-year warranty. Now, helping that even further is the fact that those LEDs are sealed tightly in the durable aluminum housing and the polycarbonate lens well enough to achieve a waterproof rating of an IP67, which is pretty standard in the auxiliary lighting world. Now, that housing has been finished off in a durable black powder coat. KC does also kick in some extras like a wired switch and also your brackets and hardware needed to get you up and running. But you can find more mounting options here on the site for those that are interested. But now we want to show you just what it takes to get the KC installed on your rig at home. So without further ado, here is that walkthrough we promised you earlier, in addition to a quick tool breakdown.
Tools required for this installation: a 10mm socket with a 1/4-inch drive, the supplied Allen key, and I used a pair of channel lock pliers. You may not have to. So let me show you how to mount this up. As you can see, there are some tabs right here on these sides that we can mount it pretty much anywhere. However, I already have the Rigid Industries center mount LED light bracket right here, and it will mount right up to that. However, I got to take these feet off, so I'm going to do that now. So as you can see, this will fit perfectly in there. And there is even a spot to pass our wire through. Right there. So let me get the hardware together and show you how to bolt it up. All right, now bringing up the LED, let me show you how to get this mounted to the bracket. We're gonna put our plug through the hole first. Make sure that the plug is nice and clear of the bracket. And then we're going to start our hardware. I'm gonna leave that bolt right there and get this other one started over here. All right, and KC did include a couple of Allen keys for the small and the large ones. So let's go ahead and tighten this up, see if we can get our Allen key in there. And it's not looking good, so. There are some splines on here. Hopefully we can get a little pair of pliers on there to get it started, then we can finish it off with this Allen key. So let me see what I can do. So I'm using a pair of channel locks here. I'm just gonna open them up a little bit and then go ahead and tighten up this Allen head bolt. All right, so our next step is to wire this up. And KC Highlights did supply you with a very nice wiring harness for it with a built-in fuse, relay, and your switch over here. Also, there are nice weather-tight and waterproof Deutsch connectors that we'll connect the light up to lastly. So what we're gonna do is find a good spot to run this Deutsch connector to the front of the vehicle. I'm gonna go right between our radiator and our AC condenser right here. So I'm gonna come down next to this radiator support, pull that right there, because this is coming from our light down there. So let me pull all that slack out of there. Now we have our relay and our fuse as well as our terminal connectors. And then this is our switch. So we're gonna run this towards the firewall and towards the cab of the truck. I'll leave that over there. You're gonna wanna find a nice spot for your relay, somewhere where it's not too hot and somewhere where it's not gonna be around moving parts. Same with all the wires. You wanna keep them away from anything that's hot, again, and anything that's moving. So I'm just gonna tuck this over here. We are temporarily installing this light because we have to go back to stock eventually. So there, we're gonna have enough there for our power, and we should have enough for our light switch. And as you can see right down here, there is a nice grommet we can use right underneath these electrical connectors for our PCM. So I'm gonna get a 1/4" drive now and take care of these 10mm so I can attach my power. All right, what we're gonna do now is attach our positive and negative wire to our battery, starting with the positive side. This is a 10mm socket. Let me just make sure my ground's not gonna touch my positive side over here. Tighten up that. And then last is going to be our negative connection right here. So KC Highlights also gives you a sweet switch right here with an LED on it. As you can see, mine is already wired up, and all you have to do is connect these two ends right here. Find a good spot on your dash to mount that switch. Again, there's 2 slots for 2 screws, so you can mount it in multiple different locations, but when it's on, you'll see that LED light. So now let's wire up our light. All right, moving on to our plug for the LED light itself. We do have a lot of slack here, so what I'm going to do is wrap this up and put a zip tie on it. And again, make sure it's away from anything that's hot or anything that is moving. So here's my zip tie. All right, now I can make my connection with these Deutsch connectors. You want to make sure you hear that audible click. Make sure it's seated, just like that. And again, do some cable management. Make sure that your wires aren't going to fall down or get caught up in anything that's not supposed to. I may need another zip tie for that. So that's going to wrap up my install of the Deegan 38 by KC Highlights 20-inch LED light bar for your F-150. And for all things F-150, keep it here at AmericanTrucks.com.